Adonis Stevenson versus Tavoris Cloud. Both of these guys are big punchers. Both of these guys are aggressive. And both of these guys can be fast starters. So don't blink. That's the best advice I can give you right off the bat. Now, Tavoris Cloud is coming off a 12-round points defeat to Bernard Hopkins, where he really got schooled. And previous to that, he had a split decision win over Gabriel Campillo. But in all reality, anyone who watched that fight knows that Tavoris Cloud not only lost, but he got schooled. He got taught the art of boxing in that fight. So, truth be told, Cloud is actually coming off back-to-back points defeats. And I think after going through those two fights, I suspect that he's gone back to the drawing board and said to himself, you know what? I need to actually learn the art of boxing. And coming into this fight, against Stevenson. Stevenson's obviously a big puncher, probably the biggest puncher Tavoris Cloud has ever faced. So I expect to see a much more cautious Tavoris Cloud than we're normally used to seeing. I expect Cloud to be a bit more tactical in this fight than he normally is. I'm not saying he's going to be boxing on the back foot, although you never know, but I think he'll still be trying to come forward, but he'll be applying far more educated pressure than we're used to seeing from him. I don't think he's going to come rushing out in the first round the same way that he did against Gabriel Campillo in the early part of that fight. I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see a much more educated and cautious approach from Tavoris Cloud in this fight. It remains to be seen whether Cloud can actually absorb Adonis Stevenson's punches. Cloud's never been down, never been knocked out, never been seriously hurt, as far as I've seen in any of his fights. So he's proven so far to have a very good chin. But again, he's never been in there with someone who can hit as hard as Adonis Stevenson. As we saw with Nathan Cleverly a couple weeks ago, he also had a reputation of having a very good chin, but he'd never fought anyone that could hit as hard as Kovalev. So, any chin can be cracked. It just takes a big enough puncher to do it. So, I'm expecting Cloud to be a bit more tactical and not quite as aggressive as normal. And obviously, Cloud is, for those of you who don't know him, Cloud is pretty much a typical pressure fighter. He comes forward, likes to get on the inside and throw combinations, does have pretty good hand speed when he gets up close. He has a decent jab coming in, goes to the body well, mixes up his combinations on the inside. Up close, Tavoris Cloud is a formidable fighter. He does have punching power. Yeah, and he is formidable up close. I think that Cloud's advantage is going to be on the inside in this fight. I think he tucks up better than Stevenson does up close. That's where I think his advantage is going to be. Now, over to Adonis Stevenson, his confidence is sky high right now. He's riding the crest of a wave. He just knocked out Chad Dawson. He absolutely 100% believes in his punching power. He believes anyone he touches goes to sleep. And he won't feel any different coming into this fight with Tavoris Cloud. Cloud's punching power will not, or Cloud's reputation as a big puncher will not intimidate Stevenson in the slightest. It won't discourage Stevenson from letting his hands go early in this fight. It won't. Stevenson is a maverick, puncher like that. He just goes out. He's not interested in what firepower you've got. All he's interested in is landing his own big shots. Even in the Darnell Boone rematch, he was all guns blazing pretty much from the opening bell. And that was against a guy who had previously knocked him out. A lot of fighters would go into a rematch against a fighter who'd knocked them out and think, okay, let me try and box. They'd be a bit jittery. They'd think, let me try and box. Let me try and maybe take the fight on points. But Stevenson was like, you know what, to hell with that. I'm going to go for the knockout from the opening bell. Even if it was risking losing a fight. And remember, he was guaranteed his title shot against Chad Dawson as long as he got past Darnell Boone. So there was a lot at stake in that fight. It wasn't just his reputation. It wasn't just his pride. It wasn't just revenge. It was also a potential title shot should he get past Darnell Boone. So there was a lot of reasons to be cautious, but Adonis Stevenson showed very little caution and he went straight in and was banging big left hands in, and he eventually did stop Darnell Boone. So that's Stevenson's mentality. He's a puncher. He does have some boxing skills. He is somewhat of a boxer puncher, but definitely more of a puncher than a boxer. He does have some skills, but he's shown those skills at a lower level. All right. The Chad Dawson fight was so short that we didn't really get to see how Adonis Stevenson's boxing skills held up against a world-class opponent. So that's a bit of an open question. Now, both of these guys, Stevenson and Cloud, are around the same height. In terms of their arm length, I'm not sure. Apparently, Cloud has a longer reach, but as I've been through many times before, reach and arm length are two different measurements, two different things. And arm length is actually far more accurate and far more relevant a measurement. So I'm not exactly sure what their arm length is, but apparently Cloud does have a longer reach. I think he's got a 74-inch reach and Stevenson's got a 72 or something like that, somewhere along those lines. But this fight is going to be on HBO, so I think we'll probably find out the arm length measurement when the two guys get in the ring. So in terms of how I see the fight going, as I said, I think that Stevenson is going to come out as he normally does and try to land big shots straight away. And obviously, I forgot to mention the fact that we know that Tavoris Cloud can hurt and knock out Adonis Stevenson if he catches him. There's just no question about it, because Tavoris Cloud is bigger and stronger and hits harder than Darnell Boone. So we know for a fact that if Cloud catches Stevenson right, he can knock him out. Yeah, no question about it. We're not yet sure, even though Adonis Stevenson is a tremendous puncher, we're not yet sure if his punches will have the same effect on Tavoris Cloud. Now, like I said, stylistically, these two guys might have the similar kind of reach, but I'm expecting Stevenson to be a bit better on the outside, being a southpaw and, seeing as that his style has changed up quite a bit since he, went over to the Kronk gym, and he was obviously being trained by Manny Stewart first, and now Sugar Hill is training him. So his style has changed up quite a bit. He uses his reach a lot better than he used to. Like I said, albeit at a lower level, but I expect Stevenson to control the action when the fight is at long range. But when the fighters get close, that's where I expect Cloud to have his success, if he does have any success. A lot of people not expecting this fight to go very long. I don't know. I think if Cloud is as cautious as I suspect he might be, then the fight could go some rounds. But if he opens up, then it's whoever lands first. It potentially could be whoever lands first. I'm looking forward to this fight. Definitely looking forward to it. If I had to make a pick, I would go with Stevenson. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually went the distance, to be honest, because sometimes with two big punches, they can cancel each other out. When Mike Tyson fought Bone Crusher Smith, a lot of people were expecting a shootout. They didn't think it would go past 3 or 4 rounds, but it ended up going 12 rounds and being a snooze fest. Now, I don't think this fight will be a snooze fest because I don't think either of these guys has a Bone Crusher Smith mentality. I think both of them have more of a Mike Tyson type mentality. So I don't think it's going to be a snooze fest, but if Tavoris Cloud tucks up nice and tight the way that Don George did against Adonis Stevenson, there's the possibility that he might be able to go the distance, and he might not necessarily get knocked out, even if he is shipping a lot of punishment. But like I say, man, it's anyone's fight, to be honest with you. It's anyone's fight because both of these guys have got power. We know Stevenson could be knocked out. Tavoris Cloud, he's shown vulnerabilities against slick boxers, but, Adonis Stevenson, although he can box, he's so offensive minded, he gives you opportunities. Yeah, even if he's outboxing you from the outside, you ain't gonna have to wait long until Adonis Stevenson, overcommits and gives you an opportunity to counter. You ain't gonna have to wait long for that. Right? So it literally could be anyone's fight. But like I said, I'd probably take Adonis Stevenson to win this fight. I'm not sure what the odds are on him winning on the cards. Obviously, most people expect him to win by knockout, and that could definitely happen. But, you know, I'm trying to look at this fight from a tactical point of view. I could maybe see it going the distance and maybe, you know, Stevenson taking it on points. And I'll be interested to see what kind of odds you could get for that. It might be worth putting a little bit of money on. So, yeah, drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this fight. This is Hatman. I'm out.